Hi everyone, and welcome to our Web Extra. We're here with Dr. Cynthia Bulik. She's the author of The Woman in the Mirror and director of the University of North Carolina's Eating Disorder Program. And Dr. Bulik, there were some things that we didn't get to during the show that I think are really important, and one is about treatment. When someone goes to an inpatient treatment facility or even gets outpatient help, what does that treatment entail exactly?
Let's start with the inpatient piece, because I think that's a mystery to a lot of people. So when you go in the hospital for anorexia nervosa, the first part is really renourishment and restoring a healthy weight. Because honestly, often your brain isn't working well at that point when you're that low of a weight. So you can have psychotherapy, but it's mostly supportive psychotherapy during that renourishment phase. And then we launch a lot of the therapies in there. We launch cognitive behavioral therapy and other sorts of therapies that then get continued on an outpatient basis.
So what is cognitive behavioral therapy? I hear that and I think, oh, that sounds good, but what does it mean?
Yeah, a lot of big words strung together, yeah. But what it really does is it looks at the thoughts, or the unhealthy thoughts, that both trigger and perpetuate an eating disorder. And I'll give you an example. So someone with bulimia, they might have a cookie, and an unhealthy thought might zap through their head like, I've already blown it, I may as well eat the whole pack. And then that thought cascades them to eat all of those cookies. What we do is we isolate that thought and we help someone replace that with a healthier alternative.
Is treatment different for, say, a typical teenage girl who might have an eating disorder and the older female population that we're seeing develop these eating disorders later in life?
Yes. In fact, there was quite a difference. One of the things that we know for the under 15 group especially is that family-based treatment is an excellent intervention. So actually getting the parents involved early on with renourishing their child is a great way to treat anorexia nervosa, and then gradually that control gets handed back over to the child. Adults with an eating disorder, they don't have the luxury of bringing their 70, 80, 90-year-old parents into treatment with them. And so in the past, they've been treated very individually on a one-to-one basis. But we've developed a really neat new treatment called UCAN, which is Uniting Couples in the Treatment of Anorexia Nervosa, where we're bringing the partners in, and we're getting the partners involved with treatment and leveraging the power of the family to help older women as well.
Can you be cured?
I think you can be cured, but what I say to people is that it's sort of like an Achilles heel. You know, if things do go bad, if you experience a loss later in life, if there's a big trauma, that's going to be your weak spot. But that doesn't mean that you can't completely recover from an eating disorder, because people do.
A percentage of people lose the battle, though,
well,
don't
that's
they?
right. I mean, anorexia does have the highest mortality rate of any psychiatric illness. It's about 5% per decade. And the lower your weight goes, the higher your risk of sudden cardiac death. You know, and really heart problems and suicide are the main causes of death for anorexia nervosa. But we do see about 25% of people with anorexia really completely recovering. And then a middle group who still have sort of lingering symptoms. They don't have a full diagnosis, but they still have some problems.
They have what's called disordered eating, if not an eating disorder, which is a whole slew of behaviors, right?
That's a whole nother show. You know, just talking about just the range of unhealthy behaviors and attitudes and feelings people have about food in their body.
Well, I really appreciate your sticking around to talk about this. And we should mention we have some of the warning signs for parents and for young women and young men, we should add, about eating disorders. And the one thing I wanted to ask you is about these very disturbing websites that really encourage kids to have an eating disorder and, you know, almost encourage them to stay sick and celebrate it in a perverse way. Do you think that's contributing to an increase in eating disorders among young adults and teenage girls?
And older women. You would be surprised how many older women that we've treated who have said they spend a lot of time on these pro-Ana and pro-Mia websites. And I just got an invitation on Google Plus last week from a pro-Ana group, and I was like, I'm an eating disorder professional. Why are they sending me an invitation? But it's sort of like playing whack-a-mole. You know, you put them down, they take them down, they keep popping up in different places. But they're terribly seductive because they basically talk about an eating disorder as a lifestyle, and they try to encourage people to continue with their eating disordered behaviors. But it's devastating and it's dangerous, and we do work with them all the time to get those sites down so that people realize how dangerous they are.
All right. Well, Dr. Cynthia Bulik, thank you again. Really appreciate your time and really appreciated talking to you about this, because I think the more people talk about it, the more they'll get help.
And thank you for taking on the topic.